You cannot afford to be distracted in 2024. In this episode, I'm going to be giving you a game plan so you understand how you can get ahead of 99% of your average trader. You're going to know what not to do, but you're also going to have a clear understanding exactly what you need to focus on to make as much money as possible next year. What you shouldn't be doing in 2024 is repeating the same mistake that you did last year, which is most likely try to gamify prop firms, lose all your professionalism, and just get confused and lost in this perpetual cycle of trying to get funded as quick as possible and realizing that as quick as you're funded, as quick as you're unfunded. And you've essentially lent into this gamblish type mentality. And where has that got you exactly? Yes, you might have had a payout here and there. And even if that, bearing in mind, there's a 1% chance that you will get a payout, it's really important that you don't fall into this trap again of spending too much time on Twitter, too much time on these social platforms, and almost consuming yourself with everybody else's life without actually focusing on your own. So please, next year, do not focus on everybody else and prioritize what you need to do for your next level. You should be grabbing a sheet of paper and you should be writing down, what mistakes did I make in 2023? How can I do less of them? What is my next step? What do I need to focus on now to improve as a trader? And just focus on that. Stop getting distracted by all of these things. Now, I'm going to go into a few other parts later in this video, but something that is absolutely essential for next year is that you should 100% get yourself around a good bunch of people. Why? Because lots of issues that will come up within your trading, just by being around the right people, will avoid that from happening. So let's say, for example, you've got a good circle or a good ecosystem or network. If you're making mistakes, it's highly likely those people will be able to call you out on your BS before it even happens, so you don't spiral out of control. When you're around the right people, they will tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear, so they won't sugarcoat anything. So you can ensure that you're not going to just be blindly moving forward thinking you're progressing because maybe you was in the right trade at the right time. You will be moving forward in the right way because you've got other people around you that are either on the same level or slightly further along to be able to help you. Being around the right people is just going to essentially keep you straight and narrow and avoid you from being distracted by all these different things. I can bring it back to that just by being around the right circle within itself is almost 50% of the battle. It keeps you accountable amongst so many other things. Most likely the most neglected thing that the trader will do. And I understand why, because of the rise of funding firms, the appeal to want to be a 7-figure trader, 6-figure trader, whatever it is, I understand you want to get there. However, what has happened in the process? You've neglected your personal account, and what had to happen is situations like these funding firms to go bust, to realize, oh, hold on a minute, I'm not actually in a good position as what I thought because I have no personal capital. So if I've quit my job and I'm just relying on that alone, that can become extremely stressful. So what you need to do is prioritize building your personal account. The next point that I'm going to mention in a second is going to lead into that. But what I would do if I was you is I'd, again, grab a sheet of paper, old school with it, traditional, and just write down in 2024 and be real with the numbers, right? It has to be based off of your skill set. If you're not profitable yet and you're saying, right, in 2024, I want a 200K personal account, it's not that it's unrealistic, it may just be unrealistic in your timeline. So just start incrementally. It might be for next year, you just want to build a £10,000 personal capital. For someone else, it might be 6-figure personal capital. So just write that down so you have a clear objective. This is what I want to achieve by the end of next year. I see a lot of traders, they're actually pretty decent from a technical standpoint. They don't prioritize too many other things, but from a technical ability, they know enough to be in enough trades to essentially get paid out, right? Even though they're the small percentage, they're able to do it. What happens is if you become one of those individuals and you don't have a plan, if you have made £20,000 in a month for the first time ever, and you have no plan, you've got no good people around you to keep you straight and narrow, you've got no clear goals, what are you going to do? You're now going to buy every single thing you never could afford. That is just a human instinct to fill the void. Oh, I could never do this, now I can. You know, I've got a really average car, now I can buy that better car. That's not what's going to build you wealth. It's not what's actually going to get you to the next level. It's going to be a huge distraction. You'll realize there's not that much importance in it, and what I really should have done is prioritize other things. So for example, you get 20K personal payout. What are you going to do? You're going to put that prop firm capital payout and you're going to put it into a personal account. Now you're going to have a ratio. So for example, you could go 25% of anything that I withdraw from the markets using this prop firm capital, I'm going to put it straight into my personal account, and that leads from the goal of building your personal capital. So every single time that you've got a payout, you now have a metric, not, oh, this month I'll just put £1,000 out of the 10. You can't just decide as to how you feel about what the payout is, because maybe there's other things you want to spend money on. You're here to get ahead, and I'm literally helping you get ahead. You've got to be able to resist the temptation from just buying loads of shit that you don't need. That is really the bottom line advice. But the way that I can help you is by you sticking to an actual metric. Now you could say, Mark, I'm going to do 10%. Fine, do something, right? 10%, 20%, 25%, stick to something and have the financial discipline to do it. So then that way, you know that you've got this into your personal account, and then with that extra capital, you could also do the same thing. Reinvest a portion of that into more funding to acquire more capital. Reinvest a portion of that into yourself. So you know you're actually working on yourself. You're the asset at the end of the day. So you need to make sure that you've invested back into yourself. Then the rest of that, yes, you can spend 10, 15% on yourself. You know, you have to make it real for yourself. I'm a big believer in that as well. But at least prioritize the game plan of how you're going to utilize that capital to get ahead in the first place. How you get ahead of 99% of traders is literally by doing this, because your average trader believes, and they've been misled. The biggest myth in this industry is making you believe that if you just have an edge and you have a technical strategy, you just need to keep learning it to eventually you make money. Absolutely false. Otherwise there'd be multimillionaires everywhere. It's not my opinion, it's the data. You can feel however you want about it. The reality is, if it was just technicals, we'd have way more people making more money. But we don't, because we understand trading is a holistic thing. Yes, you need an edge. Without an edge, you actually have nothing. You just become a gambler. However, once you've got an edge, which most people can access one, this is not the difficult part. That's the interesting thing. People think that, yes, this argument of you need an edge or do you need to work on your mindset, you can find an edge anywhere. So why is it that people that do have an edge still can't become profitable? It's got nothing to do with their edge, because it's about how the individual can perform under pressure. However, you need to invest into yourself. So this is how you get ahead of 99% of traders, because 99% of traders don't invest into themselves. They believe, right, I've got my strategy, I just need to keep going and then I'll be successful. But yet that very rarely happens. It's the reason why you have an under 1% chance of having a payout. Loads of people are skilled technically. They're not skilled mentally. They don't look at things holistically. So what can you do to invest into yourself? Now, I'm not talking about just education in terms of learning how to trade. I'm talking about everything. So that, also looking at investing into yourself in acquiring capital. So let's say going through an assessment or a funding challenge, investing into yourself in terms of maybe books that you want to read, investing into your health. Do you look after yourself? So have you sat down and wrote on a sheet of paper? I'll give you some advice right now. Grab a sheet of paper and write down your name and then put asset, as in you are now the asset. As you write down the asset, you then write down things that you want to improve. So write investing into myself. And when you write down investing into myself, what would that actually look like? So you might look at, right, £50 a month is invested into my health. And what that is this gym membership. Or it could be certain supplements that is just keeping your body more nourished, whatever it is, right? You need to actually have a list of things. A lot of people say, yeah, I invest into myself, but if I said, how do you do that? They wouldn't know how to list it. So you need to grab that sheet of paper and get clear. This is how I'm investing into myself, because if I do that, I'm improving myself as an asset, and that statistically puts you so far ahead of not just the average trader, but the average individual. You have to start taking yourself seriously. I'm going to give you some simple advice right now. So you want to separate essentials and non-essentials. That's it. So get a hold over you got to get your house in order. There's a reason why they say that phrase, because if you don't, you're just here, there, and everywhere, and you're spending your money. You don't know where your finances actually are. How do you invest into yourself? But if I was to ask you, where are you at financially? You don't know. And the reason why sometimes you have this element of wanting to hold on to that money is because you have no idea where you're at whatsoever. Where have you had a metric in place to then go, right, I'm making £2,000 a month. I should be investing a minimum of 10% a month into myself, so education. So you do that equation and go, right, so that's £200. So suddenly, spending £100 a month into yourself is not actually a big deal, but you think it is because that's just your perception right now, but you're not successful yet, and you have to have skin in the game. So how you actually do that in the first place is by getting hold of your finances, getting clear on them, so get rid of the things that are non-essential. Because I find it interesting, someone will say to me, Mark, I really want to change my life. I want to be ultra successful. I want to take care of my family. But I just can't afford to invest into myself. But then you look at their finances and you'll see Spotify, Netflix, Apple Music, Apple TV, and like the list will go on of all these things that they can justify. And if I was to say, let's just go through them, so there's a good £100 to £150 worth of outgoings in there, let me know which ones you believe are contributing towards you becoming a successful trader. And they'll go through the list and go, oh, none of them. So you're not serious about becoming a six-figure trader, are you? You just like the idea of it and you don't want to let go of these luxuries. That's the bottom line, that's the truth, and that's the bullshit story that you've been telling yourself all this time, and it's why you're going to be in the same position in a year from now. So what you've got to do is go write that list down, go through your finances and go, these are all non-essential. Which ones could I do without? What ones are essential? And the ones that are essential are the ones that are actually going to move you forward and contribute towards your goal. Just by doing that, I've already just put you 99% ahead of the average trader and the average person in life. Just by knowing this is what I shouldn't be doing, it's non-essential, it's just a luxury, this is a necessity, this is me investing, this is me moving forward, and this is what is going to help me get to my desired goal. As simple as that. So guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this episode, you've taken away some value from it. It's very practical, it's very straight to the point. And I know this is the time of the holidays. Happy holidays for those of you that do celebrate this as we're signing out towards the end of the year of 2023. But there's a reason why we've been able to accomplish so much this year as a community. And we've seen so much success with our students, of funding, Dubai, Wealth Creation Mastermind and all that stuff. The reason why we've been able to do that is because all of the things that I'm telling you, they may seem simple, but it will just go right over people's heads. Because success isn't always complex. It's just very deliberate. And all the things that I'm telling you, these are deliberate things that you could do right now and literally put yourself in a very strong position for 2024. Please don't come back to this video in a year from now knowing that I got the advice, Mark literally told me what to do, but I still done nothing and was relaxing when we're upon one of the biggest financial years in a decade.
Yeah, smashed it, mate. Really good. One thing that I want you to do is the side effect, that book behind you. Some of the viewers might not actually know that you've written a book on actual goal setting itself.
I mean, who wrote this book? I don't know. Looks good. The goal setting formula to be more, do more, and have more in life. I actually thought of that. Most people won't understand or realize that the value that I've been offering for years comes from this book. And if you haven't got it already, it's on Amazon. It's been on Amazon. It hit the bestseller for a reason. So make sure that you get this. The fact that you can grab this within $10, $15, whatever it is, and have access to this is literally a blueprint of how I've structured my entire life, going from humble beginnings to where I am now. So I highly recommend, especially at this time of the year, you want to be making sure that you've got a copy of this. I could go through it again, 5-minute rule. This is step by step. You guys know that I'm very practical when I'm talking about these things. I've even shared little snippets here and there. You probably won't be able to see this very clearly, but 10 things I want to be, do, and have. Remember, life is really about that. And you know, when I'm talking to you guys about your non-essentials, your essentials, part of that is also making sure, right, what kind of person do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have? Remember, success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person that you become, as Jim Rohn famously said.